I just lacked grip. I lacked good balance. It was just fighting the car.
After a string of disappointing performances from Ferrari, Lewis Hamilton has delivered a stunning bombshell that is sure to shake up the Formula One world. The 7-time world champion has made waves with his comments about the Italian team, especially in light of their recent struggles on the track. In this explosive revelation, Hamilton offers his thoughts on Ferrari's current state, their ongoing issues, and what might be at the root of their disastrous performances. With the F1 season in full swing, Hamilton's remarks add fuel to an already fiery debate about the future of Ferrari in the sport. What did he say? Let's dive into this captivating story.
Play Call of Duty nowadays, and chess with you.
Yeah, I really like Call of Duty.
Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari was supposed to be the stuff of dreams. A childhood fantasy finally realized after years of rumors and what-ifs. 2025 was meant to be a fairy tale. The greatest driver of the generation teaming up with the most legendary team in Formula One. Even Ferrari's strong finish in 2024 made the hype feel real. For the first time in years, it looked like the prancing horse had real horsepower behind it. But fast forward just a few months, and that dream has turned into a full-blown nightmare. Instead of chasing titles, Hamilton is battling for scraps. The dream has crashed, and the wreckage is visible for the whole world to see. It all started unraveling when Bahrain winter testing ripped off the blindfold. Ferrari went into the winter break riding a massive wave of confidence. They didn't just believe they had a good car, they truly thought they had built the best car on the grid. Even the media bought into it.
I know if you want to look at it positively, yes, but I mean, honestly, I don't think so. And it's not going to make any difference.
But when the SF25 finally hit the track in Bahrain, it didn't roar. It coughed, stumbled, and wheezed. The car that was supposed to dominate couldn't even stay in the same league as Red Bull or McLaren. Even Mercedes, who were supposedly rebuilding, looked faster, sharper, and more complete. Within hours of testing, it was clear something was very wrong. The SF25 was twitchy through corners, lacked traction, and couldn't find speed even on the straights. It became painfully obvious that Ferrari's internal hype machine had massively oversold what they had built. Behind the scenes, Ferrari's engineers scrambled. There were emergency meetings, setup overhauls, and last-minute part swaps. But it was too late. The favorite tag Ferrari had worn so proudly disappeared before the season even properly began. And the most shocking part? The world outside still didn't fully grasp how bad it really was. Not yet.
There wasn't 1 second, no.
The real meltdown happened under the bright lights of Saudi Arabia. Jeddah was supposed to be a chance to bounce back, but for Lewis Hamilton, it was the final straw. On the outside, he looked calm, but his body language told a very different story. There was no fire, no swagger, no trace of the man who once stared down the greatest challenges without blinking.
I don't know. Well, clearly the car is capable of being P3, so Charles did a great job today, so I can't blame him on the car.
After the race, Hamilton's tone was brutal, defeated. His voice sounded almost hollow. It wasn't just frustration. It was heartbreak. In a few short months, he had gone from title favorite to a man questioning why he even bothered. And the numbers on track didn't lie either. Hamilton wasn't just beaten by Charles Leclerc. He was crushed. Every lap, half a second slower. In Formula One terms, that's a lifetime. A driver of Hamilton's caliber doesn't just lose half a second per lap unless something is catastrophically wrong. Leclerc, for his part, didn't just beat Hamilton, he made it look easy, smooth, confident, fast. Meanwhile, Hamilton looked like he was dragging an anchor behind his car. No matter how hard he pushed, the gap wasn't shrinking, it was growing. Lap after lap, the separation just got uglier. And through it all, there was a sense that Hamilton knew he had made a terrible mistake. One that might be impossible to fix. Ferrari had sold him a dream, but what they delivered was a broken machine. And right now, It looks like even a 7-time world champion can't save it.
Today, I don't feel like there was anything more on the table. Every laps were really, really good. There was no mistakes. Strategy perfect. Pit stop.
Fred Vassell, if anyone thought Lewis Hamilton would just hop into that shiny red Ferrari, sprinkle a little GOAT magic, and cruise to his 8th world title like it's Mario Kart, reality just threw a brick through that dream. In a painfully honest Sky Sports F1 interview, Lewis didn't even bother sugarcoating it. When asked if he ever felt comfortable in the Ferrari all weekend, he just hit back with a brutal, "No, not a single second."
Talk much about our pit stops because whenever they go wrong, we obviously speak about it because you can lose a race with it.
Yeah, you heard that right, the dream move, the fairy tale comeback story. Right now it's looking more like a public roast session. And Lewis is the main course. Instead of a triumphant charge to glory, it's been more like a slow-motion car crash where everyone's too polite or too terrified to look away. To be fair to Hamilton, because let's be honest, the man is a 7-time world champion, he did give credit where it's due. He threw a respectful nod to his teammate Charles Leclerc, saying, "The car is good enough." Charles proved that. And that just makes the whole situation even juicier, because if the car can perform and Lewis still can't figure it out, Ferrari didn't hire Lewis to be a solid midfielder, okay? They signed him expecting fireworks, instant podiums, and probably some teary Italian national anthems. What they got instead is a legendary driver stuck fighting for scraps, tangled up in midfield battles with teams Ferrari usually pretends don't even exist.
I just lacked grip, I lacked good balance. It was just fighting the car every corner.
And here's the fun part. Bad results lead to more pressure, which leads to even worse performances, which leave even more pressure. It's like being stuck on a treadmill that keeps speeding up while you're already tripping over your own shoes. Super chill vibes, right? Word on the paddock grapevine is that Ferrari's top bosses are already getting that we may have made a huge mistake look on their faces. Behind closed doors, the backroom chatter is less "Forza Lewis" and more, "Why can't he just drive like Charles?" Because guess what? Leclerc, that ever-smiling Monegasque prince, is making the same car sing arias, while Hamilton looks like he's trying to waltz through a minefield blindfolded. Awkward. Internally, Ferrari's starting to sweat bullets. The fear that the Lewis project could spiral into a full-blown media circus, one that doesn't just dent their championship hopes, but tarnishes the brand. And if there's one thing Ferrari loves more than winning, it's protecting the brand. Here's the extra spicy bit. Ferrari is not exactly known for handing out warm hugs and emotional support pep talks. Their culture? Think less group therapy and more cold, sharp side eyes in a marble boardroom. If you're underperforming, even if you're literally one of the greatest drivers in history, sympathy runs out faster than fuel in a rookie's car. Legends get zero special treatment here. Results talk. Everything else? And talking about Ferrari's team boss, Fred Vasseur, the man who, with a straight face, looked into the cameras and defended Lewis Hamilton. "It's not about patience," he said, with the confidence of a guy who's never once had to wait for his morning coffee. But let's be real here, Fred. If it's not about patience, then why do I feel like every Ferrari fan in existence is holding their breath, waiting for the magic to finally happen? It's like Fred's just giving Hamilton a very well-manicured, expensive Ferrari-themed countdown clock. When Fred said he can fix everything in China, that sounded like the world's most optimistic get-out-of-jail-free card. I mean, that's a lot of pressure, right? Here's the thing. China could be Lewis's last shot before Ferrari pulls out their biggest card. The "we gave him a chance" card. That's a very short leash, Fred, and everyone knows it. No one at Ferrari does patience, especially not when their shiny red cars are collecting dust in the midfield. Let's not kid ourselves. Ferrari isn't about, hey, let's give it time. They want results yesterday, and if you're not hitting those targets by Wednesday afternoon, you might just find yourself out the door faster than a pit stop. They expect podiums, wins, and a healthy amount of drama, but only if it's on the victory podium, not in the press conferences.
Almost every corner you're doing. Trying to every lap, every time you're going around, you're trying to adapt to improve on that specific spot.
Now, if you've been following the saga, you'll know that Hamilton's future at Ferrari is looking shakier than a Ferrari engine after a crash test. There's no denying it. The gaps between him and Leclerc are growing and fast. At this point, we're talking about a gap wide enough for an entire pit crew to take a nap in. And what happens when those gaps get bigger, the frustration goes higher, and the pressure builds? Oh yeah, someone's getting replaced. You'd better believe Ferrari's team bosses have a checklist, and if Hamilton's not checking off the right boxes by mid-season, the plug might get pulled faster than you can say pit stop. Now, let's entertain a little thought. If the dream has already morphed into a nightmare, would Hamilton even want to stick around? I mean, when you dream of Ferrari and you end up in the pits, looking at your mirrors to see Leclerc zooming ahead, you gotta wonder, is this even worth it anymore? So, what's the most likely outcome here? Well, there's the early exit. The let's part ways before it gets ugly situation. Ferrari might wave goodbye and say, thanks for the memories, and send Hamilton off to his next adventure. Then there's the humiliating demotion. You know, when you're just not the one anymore. And lastly, there's the possibility of a stubborn comeback. A comeback so stubborn, it could become a meme. Imagine Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, scraping by in the midfield, trying to claw his way back. It's not pretty, but it's also so Lewis. The truth? It's hard to say. But one thing is certain. It's a precarious ride ahead, and every lap counts. Keep your eyes on China. That race could determine if Hamilton stays in red, or if his Ferrari story becomes just another chapter in a very expensive, very high-speed tragedy. Hit like and subscribe to the channel to get more details on the subject matter.